It is not uncommon at the more advanced levels to have to exit an upstream onto an adjacent stopper before doing a second downstream or upstream gate downstream of the stopper on the other side. As highlighted in the stopper crossing section, a consistent but slow solution to this scenario is to leave the upstream, drop the whole boat into the stopper and trundle along it before exiting out of the opposite end and through the second gate. Two quicker but more challenging options are the set and lift on and ride the diagonal. Although these headings aren't universally recognised, they offer a good descriptor of the techniques and differentiate between them. The second technique, ride the diagonal, is used when it is challenging to position the boat much above the stopper because of the restricted exit height from the eddy or the power of the downstream flow. So let's have a first look. The best setting to practice this competence on is on a moderate sized stopper which ideally sits square across the river and preferably has an eddy opposite both ends. The top of the eddy should restrict the height the athlete can reach above the stopper, but in a learning environment a simple awareness of this restriction is enough, and freedom to climb a little can aid the development process. The stopper should present with curling diagonals on each end. An upstream gate should be positioned in the eddy opposite the stopper, with a downstream gate placed below the stopper towards the other end of it. The position can be adjusted to alter the difficulty of the move. The further across the river from the up, the more challenge. From a safety perspective, it is essential to know in advance that any stopper utilised for this type of practice can be exited before engaging with it. In this scenario, the athlete's first priority is to move up the eddy far enough so that the boat has enough space to rotate into a downstream position before the bows make contact with the curl or stopper. In this position at the top of the eddy, the bows are slowly presented into the flow with the tail in the eddy causing the boat to rotate into this downstream position. Once the boat is parallel and on top of the curling diagonal, the bow rudder stroke that has been used throughout the rotation is quickly converted into a strong forward pull. This drives the flat boat along the top of the diagonal and onto the eddy of the stopper, from where the next gate can be reached. Two common mistakes when attempting this technique are: 1. Not moving high enough up the eddy to allow enough space for the boat to rotate far enough downstream. This results in the bows connecting with the stopper when the boat is still pointing too much across the river, and with the action of the diagonal on the tail causes the boat to rotate upstream. 2. Pushing too much boat too quickly out of the eddy into the flow. This compromises the speed of rotation again, meaning the boat points too much across the river, as well as putting the boat inside the diagonal and too deep into the stopper, again causing over rotation. So now let's have another look at that in its entirety.